All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. It's May 30th, 2025. We're glad you're with us this morning. I see a bunch of new names on the participant box, so thank you all for joining us. Please note this event is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Well, good morning, everybody. Back in 2007, I took over facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. This group's been around since the late 1990s. Like I said, I took it over in 2007 when the prior leader landed a job. In 2008, I started careerdfw.org, a website to help those unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or I have copies with me. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIT crew. We'd love for everybody out there to please turn on your camera so that we can see your smiling face. Everybody can see everybody else. Make sure your full name is visible. It looks like everybody's names that I see on the list are visible right now, so that's great. Our agenda this morning, we'll start out with success stories. We'll then go to job leads. We'll let everybody do their 30-second introductions. We'll start out with those here in the room, and then we'll get everybody who's online. We'll then hear from the Interview Success Workshop, the practice interview team, and the career tip of the week. And then we'll have our main event about the top of the hour. Well, we like to start off with good news. Do we have any landings to report? No one in the room? Anybody online landings? All right, we'll move on then. All right, for everybody who's online, we'd like you in the chat window, open up the chat window and put in your name, position you're looking for, your email, your LinkedIn, your phone number, what city you're watching from. Give us 2 or 3 target companies we can maybe help you out with, and companies where you have connections. We could help somebody else out. So we'll put 30 seconds on the clock for you to get started. And if just keep on typing, put your contact information in the chat window. We'll really appreciate it. That way I'll use the names that pop up there on the agenda or on our roster, which you'll get a copy of later today or tomorrow. All right, we want to do introductions for everybody here. So we'll start out with the people in the room. Come on down, grab the microphone, and give us your 30-second introduction.
Hi, I'm Jason Nixon. I'm a technology director specializing in technical operations space, broad background across different technical domains. I'm looking for, right now I'm targeting Surf Air Mobility. It's a local airline here in Addison. I'm also really looking for a contact in McKesson as well. I have contacts at Price Waterhouse and Epsilon. My name is Jason Nixon.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. My name is Michael Garber. I'm a IT program manager looking for a position as a senior project or program manager in the IT space. Interested also in contacts at McKesson this week, and I have contacts at Kyndryl. My name is Michael Garber.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is William McLaughlin, currently seeking a business analyst role and looking for contacts at GameStop and Dave & Buster's. Again, my name is William McLaughlin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jenny Holcomb, and I am looking for an assistant director at Parks and Rec in the city of Irving. I need contacts there, and I'm also pursuing Gallo in Modesto, California. I have contacts at Duke Cannon Men's Grooming Products, Tula Trees, Fox River Socks, and Rocky Boots Company. My name again is Jenny Holcomb.
Thank you.
Morning, everybody. I'm Steven Sulkin. I'm a Director of Operations Excellence, and I'm looking for contacts at Integris Health, and I can help with contacts at Baylor Scott and White. I'm Steven Sulkin.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kathleen Dixon. I am looking for a VP or director position in sales and operations. I need contacts at Envision, Urgent Vet or Deep Wellness. I have contacts at Total Wine and Atria Senior Living and many other senior livings. My name is Kathleen Dixon.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tim Farrell. I'm looking for work as an electrical design verification engineer. My target companies are any defense contractor hiring engineers, as well as I made applications this week to Microchip Technology and Samsung. And I previously worked at RTX or Raytheon, which is now known as now RTX. So I have contacts there. And my name is Tim Farrell.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Penn, like what you write with an extra N, Hoyt, Director of Marketing in the B2B space. I'm looking for contacts at Verizon on the business side of the house, not the consumer, the business side of the house. And I have many contacts across varied industries, including Dell Tech. Again, Penn Hoyt.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Casca. I'm looking for project manager roles in the accounting space. I need contacts at FedEx, Oracle. I have contacts at Robert Half. My name is Michelle Casca.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hari Kalyander. I'm looking for a financial analyst or senior financial analyst positions. My target companies, one company I applied to was Raising Cane's. So anyone has any contacts at Raising Cane's corporate office, I'd appreciate that. I have contacts at RTX Corp or Raytheon, as well as Atmos Energy. And again, my name is Hari Kalyander, Corporate Finance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mike Knoll. I am looking for a position as a quality manager or auditor in the defense and aerospace space. I have experience in Scrum and Agile software development, manufacturing, maintenance, repair, and overhaul, and other things. I need contacts at RTX, Collins Aerospace, and Sierra Nevada Corporation, SNC. I have contacts at L3 Harris. My name is Mike Knoll.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Richie Morris. I am looking for a creative director or creative group lead role. Looking for contacts at Learfield, which is a sports marketing company. We're also looking for contacts at Oracle Dallas, and I'm looking for contacts at the other one. Children's Medical. I'm looking to get contacts in the medical and hospital field also. I have contacts at Mary Kay, and I worked there for a long time, and most of my contacts are there. Again, my name is Richie Morris. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Steve Stanton. I'm looking for a cross-functional role in a big bank or small bank. So if you know people at JP Morgan, Citi, or a community bank looking to really transform itself, I'm your guy, cross-functional stuff. I have contacts in Hong Kong, New York City, but I've only been here 2 weeks, so not too many in Texas, but try me if it's finance and banking related. Again, my name is Steve Stanton. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Becca Alexander, and I'm looking for a role in change management to help organizations realize the value from their IT investments through people. I'm looking for contacts at JP Morgan Chase and Keurig Dr. Pepper. I have contacts at PepsiCo. My name is Becca with a K Alexander.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kevin Garza. I'm looking for project manager and project coordinator positions. I need contacts at utility or manufacturing companies. I have contacts in mainly education. My name is Kevin Garza.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Brett Blue. I am looking for a position in, again, like some of our previous, product management, project management in the technology field. I have a background in healthcare, business startups, and teaching. I'm looking, in fact, right now, I'm looking for contacts if anybody has at the Khan Academy. And I have contacts at iPeople is the primary one, and some of the smaller healthcare technology companies. Again, my name is Brett Blue, like the color.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Todd Haney. I'm looking for roles in customer success or implementation. I have contacts in various independent school districts around the North Texas area, but I'm looking for contacts in Motorola Solutions, Caterpillar, and even Southern Glaciers. Try to split my interests there. My name is Todd Haney. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Hi, everyone. My name is Dara Patel. I'm looking for roles in product management, such as business analyst or product owner, product support analyst. This week, my target company is Liberty Mutual. I have contacts at Co-America and any other telecom companies. Again, my name is Dara Patel.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gabriela Villafana. I'm looking for finance manager, pricing or data analyst roles, KDP, 7-Eleven, any wine suppliers or spirits. I have contacts as Southern Glazers. And my name is Gabriela Villafana.
Great. Anybody else?
We have two more in the back right here, Jeff.
Come on down. No, come on. One more coming.
Thanks for the accountability, everybody. Good morning. My name is Elke Gibba. I'm a director of marketing, and I specialize in sales enablement and also helping sales teams really get connected with the platforms that they need to use. So if somebody needs help getting that organized, I'm your girl or your lady or your woman. I'm your executive. That's who I am. I have contacts at Globe Life, also at some of the organization, varied. So come and ask me if you need something. I might have a contact there. I am looking for contacts at TIAA, also at Schwab and John Hancock Manulife, if anybody knows anybody there. Elke Gibba, nice to meet you all.
Great. Thank you very much. All right, let's go online now. Let's start out with Mike Belize.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Belzil. So I'm looking for a senior director of product management role, focusing on data and analytics. So I need contacts at Toyota, Revantage, or Federal Express. So I have contacts at Walmart, Epsilon, and Circana. So my name is Mike Belzil.
There we go. Michael Wilk.
Good morning. My name is Michael Wilk from Allen. I'm looking for a position as a senior quality engineer, quality lead, or quality manager. My target companies include SNC, Collins, Boeing, RTX, and Encore Wire. I have contacts at L3 Harris and Raytheon. I'm a veteran with a top secret clearance. Michael Wilk.
Thank you. Adrina. Sorry if I'm slaughtering your name.
Hello, everyone. Is it me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Adrian Janko, and I'm looking for machine learning position and research science position, cybersecurity position. My target company, AMD, Marvel, NVIDIA, Meta, or software company which focus on cybersecurity role. And also, I have connection in Howard University because I'm a recently PhD graduate, and Army Research Lab too because I've done internship there. My name is Adrian Janko.
Great, thank you. Christy Coleman. Christy Coleman. All right, Ahmed.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Ahmed Issa. I'm looking for IT project manager, Scrum Master roles. I don't have particular targets company. I pretty much have all my target companies for the time being. I do have contacts at Robert Half and Randstad. Excuse me. Once again, my name is Ahmed. Thank you.
Thank you. Vitaly.
Good morning, everyone. Vitaly Platonov. I'm looking for supply chain, logistics or transportation specialist or manager position here in Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm targeting GXO Logistics located in Fort Worth. I have connections at Hyundai Motor North America. Again, Vitaly Platonov. Thank you.
Thank you. Alkeisha.
Good morning. Alkeisha Rodriguez. I'm a technical business analyst. I'm not looking for any contacts right now, but I do have contacts at Verizon, Technology Association of Grant Makers, and Communities Foundation of Texas. I translate the technical into tangible to make it profitable. Alkeisha Rodriguez.
Thank you. Brian McGovern.
Hello, my name is Brian McGovern. I am looking for a HR coordinator or benefits coordinator position. Some of my target companies are Ladderosh, or processed Ladderock. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but Aon and the city of Dallas. And I have contacts as Mr. Cooper. And once again, my name is Brian McGovern. Thank you.
Thank you. Chandler.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chandler Kim, and I'm a B2B technology marketing and partnering executive. I help companies win more and grow faster. I'm seeking a VP of marketing or partnering or strategic alliances at a technology, cybersecurity, telecom, or SaaS type company. Although I'm located in the far North Dallas area, I am open to remote or hybrid or on-site opportunities. Relocation is certainly something I'm happy to take a look at. I put my information in the chat. I'm happy to help anybody. If you are looking for contacts at Nokia, I can probably help you. And if you have any contacts at either Ivanti or Beyond Trust, that would be appreciated. Once again, I'm Chandler Kim.
Thank you. Constance.
Hi, good morning. My name is Connie Clark, and I am looking for head of HR, VP or SVP of People and Culture positions in technology companies or high growth companies. My contact details are there, but target companies are LTK or any tech or AI company. And I have contacts at AppSpace and Everegg. My name is Connie Clark.
Thank you. Don Jones.
Good morning. My name is Dawn Jones. I am seeking opportunities as a quality manager. Target companies, they're all over the place. I'm also interested in Caterpillar, Linux, and Texas Instruments. I have contacts at Raytheon. I am Dawn Jones.
Thank you. Ginger.
I'm Ginger Hartgrove, and I am a IT business analyst. I don't really have any contacts at this point. I've been out of work for a while, but I am an IT business analyst and have worked in the airline industry and the travel technology industry. I'm Ginger Hartgrove.
Thank you. Hilbert.
Talking on mute. This is the first time attending online. Hilbert Taylor here. I'm a software development engineer in test. I build software test platform, reliable and scalable, intelligent with joy. And I love to break software before customer do it. My target company are Southwest Airlines, American Airlines, and Verizon. Again, my name is Hilbert Taylor here.
Thank you. James with no last name. All right, let's go to the other James.
Hey Jeff, how you doing?
Good.
Good morning, everybody. I'm James Andre. I'm from the Windy City of Chicago. I'm a senior project program manager. Just finished up my last engagement last week with a company called Cineverse out of Tampa, Florida. I've been working mostly in the telecom space in the wireless industry. I'm looking to stay in that industry to finish out my career. So I can provide contacts with Cineverse if anybody's interested in that company. My target companies are right now Motorola Solutions, Verizon, all the players are in the telecom space right now.
Thank you. Jennifer Rhodes.
Morning, everyone. I'm Jennifer Rhodes. I'm a talent acquisition professional looking for a talent acquisition or recruiter role in the DFW area. My experience recently has been in early career or internship programming, but open to looking for experience roles as well. Again, my name's Jennifer Rhodes.
Thank you. Jody.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jody Dahlberg. I'm an IT operations manager, and I'm looking for operations or director of IT roles. I need contacts at SRS Distribution, TIAA, and I can provide contacts at CDM Smith, retail like JCPenney, and parts distribution if you're interested. My name is Jody Dahlberg.
Thank you. John Manikin.
Thanks, Jeff, for allowing me to speak. I'm not really in a job search. My name is John Madigan. I run an executive coaching firm in Connecticut, and I also run a group like this, a weekly group like this one, for folks in transition as well. So I'm always interested in how others operate, and I'm a huge fan of Rusty Wright. So I hope you don't mind me sitting in. I really wanted to see more of Rusty. He spoke to my group as well.
All righty. Let's see here. Jody Dahlberg.
She just went.
All right. Sorry about that. John Zelnick. No, I think you went too, didn't you?
No, not yet.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Howdy, I am John Zenek. I'm an operations director here in the DFW area. Looking for a role in operations, process improvement, or change management for technology teams. Target companies, AT&T and Verizon. I have a lot of connections at PwC, that's PricewaterhouseCoopers. So if anyone needs that, let me know. I'm John Zenek. Thank you.
Thank you. Kay with no last name. Just Kay.
Hi, I'm Kavita Kantala, a senior product manager. I help companies build and launch digital products, and I help transform the legacy products into the self-service portals. I am looking for product manager roles and at any company, and I am Kavita Kantala.
Thank you. Kevin Nelson.
Hi, my name's Kevin Nelson. I'm an industrial engineer, and I'm looking for a position in that role where I could take on projects for cost reduction. I also have expertise in planning, scheduling, purchasing, and inventory control. My name is Kevin Nelson.
Thank you. Mark W.
Yeah, hi, my name is Mark Wildman, and good morning, everyone. And I'm looking for HR director, VP type roles, and I've got experience in global and domestic. And if I can be of help to anyone, happy to connect. Mark Wildman.
Thank you. Let's see here. Randall Christopher.
Good morning. My name is Randall Christopher from the Dallas area, and I'm looking for a logistics audit position in the technology industry. My target companies are Honeywell and T-Systems, and I have contacts at Samsung Electronics America. Thank you.
All right, Christy Grant Coleman, you ready now?
I am, thank you. Good morning, happy Friday, everyone. My name is Christy Grant Coleman. I am looking for a director or manager of training or learning and development. I need contacts at Instacart and Medallia. Once again, my name is Christy Grant Coleman.
Thank you. Robbie Douglas.
Good morning, everyone. Robbie Douglas. I am a marketing and communications senior leader. I help businesses and companies to activate their brands, activate their visions. I am also a professional coach and a consultant. I have contacts across lots of different industries, and I am looking for contact with Goodwill Industries and American Diabetes Association. Thank you.
Thank you. Rosina.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. My name is Rosina Gallman, and I am your Career Tip of the Week host. I am, and I'll be back with you in just a few minutes. I'm looking for a position as a senior talent acquisition partner or senior recruiter position, and I need contacts at USAA, TIAA, T-Mobile, Wilson RPO, and Hudson RPO. I have contacts at a variety of different industries, and as I hear them, or as I hear the companies, I will reach out to you directly. And again, my name is Rosina Gallman, Senior Talent Acquisition Partner or Senior Recruiter position. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Scott Alexander.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Alexander. I am looking for product ownership, product management, software development management, and or project management positions here in the DFW area, preferably more virtual the better. I don't have any target companies right now, and I have limited contacts at AT&T. Once again, my name is Scott Alexander.
Thank you. Steve Rohan.
Good morning. My name is Steve Rowan. I'm a retired .NET developer. I've got contacts at GM Financial, Pfizer, and the VA. My name is Steve Rowan.
Thank you. Tim Lyon.
Yes, my name is Tim Lyon. I'm looking for a VP, Director, Senior Manager, Quality Assurance, Quality Engineering, or Release Management in Software and System Solutions space. I need contacts at Trella Health, OutSystems, or any software as a service or technology solution-oriented company. I have contacts at Santander Consumer USA, as well as Ascendian and Intap. My name, again, is Tim Lyon. Appreciate any help, and will be willing to help anybody that needs it.
Thank you. Thomas Morris. Thomas. Okay. Did I miss anybody else online?
Kathy Dixon.
Yes, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kathy Dixon, seeking a role as a technical writer or editor. I have extensive experience documenting hardware, application and system software, including APIs and processes. I can help develop new content or polish existing content. Kathy Dixon, Senior Tech Writer.
All right. Anybody else? Yeah. Anthony, you want to? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anthony Autry. I'm a senior retail operations merchandiser. I worked for Walmart for 16 and a half years, working 4 different roles for the company. I help companies grow massive sales, drive massive profit at the same time, reduce costs. Anthony Autry.
Right. She don't want to go. All right. All right, I don't see any recruiters online, our normal recruiters, so we'll skip over that. Let's hear from Walt Glass in the Interview Success Workshop.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's tilt time. Tilt and retilt. Okay, it's great to see all of you today. How many we got online today?
33.
33, right. So we're about 50 people today. This is great. So welcome. My name is Walt Glass, and I offer a free service with interviewing skills so that you can interview with confidence. It's a learning workshop. It's not a mock interview. It's a learning interview. And what do we want to learn? Do you agree that we are in a selling situation? Everybody that's heard me say that 50 times, they're all nodding. And so, yes, it is. And so what are we selling? And I contend it's three things. It's who we are, our personal skills, our characteristics, the way we communicate, the way we approach people, the likability factor, if you want to call it that, whatever. And then it's also our hard skills and our knowledge and our experience, all right, and what we can do. And then we want to combine those to say, and here's the value that I bring. We don't get hired to be a project manager. That's just what we do. We get hired for the results of project management. And so we want to sell all three of those. And so I built the I am, I do, I help model 25 years ago when I was 12. So I would suggest that you sign up. I'm waitlisting people right now. Go to my LinkedIn page. On the About section, it tells you about the workshop, how to register, send an email to my Yahoo mail address. That is my administrative system for using the workshop. Be glad to have you participate. And so come on down, come on practice, and we'll call it learning without squirming. Okay, before I do my poem, I want to just mention, I'm so glad that Rusty's here today to talk about AI. And so one of the things I suggest we do is that he's going to give us a lot of resources, information, tasks that we can do. And I suggest we take these actions promptly. Now think about that. All right. In job search, there's a general rule that practice interviewing is a great tool. I offer learning in the workshop school, gained the positive advantage. Now, isn't that cool? I'm Walt Glass.
Anthony, you want to talk about the pit crew? You can just do it from right there.
The pit crew. The pit crew is a great opportunity to learn an actual interview. All you need to do is to submit a job description and a resume and submit it to the dallaspitcrew@gmail.com. I mean, it's a fabulous opportunity to practice your skill, which we all need. And we meet every first, second, and third, and fifth Wednesday of the month. And on the fourth Wednesdays for those online, please submit your resume. We welcome everyone.
Great, thank you. This is a great way. If you want more information, just reach out to dallaspitcrew.com. All right, it's time for our career tip of the week. Good morning, Rosina.
Good morning, Jeff, and good morning again, everybody. All right, this week's tip of the week. This week's tip of the week is 11 reasons you're not getting hired and what to do about it. And this article is by the Indeed editorial team. And so basically, as it says, and it's inevitable, that aspect of the job search, you're not getting the job you hoped for. It's not always clear why you weren't able to secure a position that you felt you were fit for by experience and skills, and you felt it though you were perfectly a fit. Knowing the reasons why you weren't hired will help you better prepare for the remainder of your job search and obtain an exceptional position. In this article, the Indeed editorial team explains why knowing the reasons you didn't get the job is important for your future job search success. And that's some of the most common reasons why, and then of course, what to do to fix them. So some of the reasons, and they've outlined in this article 11 specific reasons why you're not getting hired. First, you're passively participating. Second, you're showing a lack of passion. Third, you're undervaluing your talents. Fourth, your application needs work. Fifth, you didn't research the company. Sixth, your expectations are high. 7, you have too much experience. 8, you're underqualified for the job. 9, you need an industry connection. 10, your interviewing skills need improvement. And 11, you're lacking references. So going back to reason number 1. One specific reason for not getting hired is passive participation. This means simply applying to jobs without proactive follow-up or well-defined strategy. To counter this article advises applying to more jobs, actively pursuing leads after interviews, and strategizing your search. This includes knowing your desired job type, identifying negotiable aspects like salary or location, understanding your strengths and weaknesses, dedicating daily time to the search, and refining your resume. Second reason, another key factor is the lack of passion. Employers seek enthusiasm as skills can be skills can be taught, but genuine interest is harder to instill. To address this, job seekers should convey their excitement in cover letters and interviews. This involves thoroughly researching the company and job description, listing what makes you eager to work there, and articulating how your passion aligns with the company's mission. Third, undervaluing your talents can also hinder your job search. If you don't confidently showcase your strengths, accomplishments, and education, you might be overlooked. The solution is to identify the greatest strengths and achievements relevant to the job, meticulously detail them in your resume and cover letter, and echo them in interviews and with a balance of pride and humility. Fourth, the quality of your application is often the first hurdle. A resume that fails to highlight abilities lacks uniqueness or is missing keywords and that can prevent you from getting your interview. To improve crafting an engaging introduction to your resume, a focus on past successes, and tailor your resume to each job by incorporating keywords from the job description. Fifth, failing to research the company is another common mistake. Employers frequently ask questions to gauge a candidate's knowledge and genuine interest. To fix this, spend time researching the company's owner or CEO, goals, mission, values, culture, and a specific role's responsibility. Demonstrating this attention to detail can impress hiring managers. Sixth, high expectations regarding your salary and benefits can also be a deterrent. Going into an interview with non-negotiable demands can be a red flag. The article suggests being flexible where possible, and then create a list of essential benefits versus negotiable ones like hourly rate or salary. Showing adaptability gives a positive impression and may open doors for negotiation. Seventh, paradoxically, having too much experience can sometimes lead to being overlooked. Employers might worry about overqualified candidates' salary expectations or their long-term commitment. If overqualified, explicitly address your experience in your application, explain your salary flexibility, and emphasize your genuine interest in the specific work. Tailoring your resume to match a job's required skills, even if they are less complex than your previous role, is very important. Eighth, conversely, being underqualified for a job can also be an issue. While many shy away from applying for jobs above their current skill set, it's possible to be considered. To improve your chances for an advanced role, list all relevant key skills and experiences, and highlight any related education, volunteering internships, or other learning experiences. Ninth, in today's market, industry connections are invaluable. Many companies prefer referred candidates due to higher success rates. To build your network, attend industry conferences and events. When getting leads or referrals, always ask permission before using someone's name. Remember, your network also includes friends and family. Let them know your job search goals. 10. Poor interviewing skills can be a major roadblock. The initial interview is crucial for showcasing communication, critical thinking, attention to detail, and professionalism. To improve, dress appropriately, arrive early, silence your phone, keep answers clear and succinct, and speak positively or neutrally about past jobs and managers, focusing on solutions to challenges. And 11, finally, lacking references can impact your eligibility. References attest to your skills and experiences. To address this, reach out to former bosses, coworkers, professors, vendors, or close colleagues who can confirm your abilities and recommend you. If just starting out, character references like friends, neighbors, or fellow volunteers can be helpful. Ensure your references are reliable and aware of your specific job that you're applying for. So I hope this article helps everybody. Again, it's 11 reasons why you're not getting hired and what to do about it. The article goes into a lot more detail. This is more of a summary. So please go back and review the entire article. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Zena, thank you very, very much. All right, today for lunch, we're going to go to Country Burger today at 11:45. Come join us, 3115 West Parker. It's on the northwest corner of Parker and Independence. Burgers, chicken, salad, and more. So you can come join us for that. If you want this particular burger, a couple years ago it was $32, but you had to bring your own ham because they don't have sliced ham. So I did give them a picture of this and they had to go price it out. All right, if you'd like to receive today's materials, you'll be able to receive a copy of the speaker's presentation, a link to the YouTube channel on Career USA that has a link for today's presentation. You'll get a copy of the Career Tip of the Week, and you'll get a copy of the Zoom chat. To make sure you get that, please, if you're here in person, please make sure you've either checked your name off on the roster so I can update that, or if anybody who's brand new, make sure that you've signed in legibly, that I can read it, because every week there's always somebody that I can't quite read something. And for everybody online, if you'd like to receive all this information, please make sure your email address is in the chat. Otherwise, we won't be able to reach out to you. All right, it's time for our main event. If you have any questions throughout the main event, please just raise your hand or enter your questions in the chat window, and we'll get those answered as our speaker takes a break. Please turn on your video so we can see who you are. We really would appreciate that. So today our speaker is Rusty Wright. Rusty is a seasoned global marketing executive with extensive international experience creating brand leadership in consumer packaged goods. Over 25 plus years, he's held senior roles at top multinationals, including Unilever, Avon, Coty, and Mary Kay, driving successful brand and business development strategies ranging from Calvin Klein to premium cookware. Rusty was an early adopter of emerging AI platforms. He began training others just 6 weeks after the launch of ChatGPT. And over the past 2.5 years, he's trained thousands of managers, executives, and job seekers in effectively leveraging generative AI tools for personal and professional growth, and created numerous custom tools for job seekers. So I'm going to give Rusty my microphone and we'll get started here.
Yeah, I clicked share and says replace.
Yes.
Current share.
Place.
And we're gonna go to And it did the wrong one. Okay, so let me end the show and let's get it to share a different one. Okay. Hey, Jeff, so it was sharing the wrong screen before. And I stopped sharing.
Where'd your Zoom thing go?
It's up here. The general Zoom is down here.
Well, no, that's not it.
Now
either.
let's go here. Oh, is it over here?
Oh, they were good.
Okay, so let's do share. And then let's try desktop 2. Share.
And just text out of that.
And then let's try one. Here we go.
There we go.
Excellent. I'm getting a little feedback.
We need to turn off the speaker. Audio.
All right, well, we'll get there. So good morning, everyone. Thank you. I am still getting feedback. How about if I turn that down? Can everybody still hear me online? If you can, give Jeff a thumbs up so we know we're okay. Jeff, we're getting thumbs up on that. Okay, fantastic. So good morning at last, everyone. It's great to be back. This is actually the third time that I've been back here at Career North Dallas Focus Group. Thank you to Jeff and also to Walt for extending the invitation for me to rejoin you. First of all, a little bit of background about me. You need to know that I am not, I don't have advanced degrees in AI. I haven't been coding with Python for the last 10 years. In fact, I'm trained as a global marketer. And let's see, this isn't even advancing now. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I'm trained as a global marketer, as you heard, working for companies like Unilever and Coty and Mary Kay here in Dallas. But as a global marketer, I've always been asked to look into my crystal ball and to try and understand what are the technologies and the trends that are going to be shaping the way consumers are interacting with companies, with brands, and with products. And AI was one of those trends that 3 years ago, I saw this trend coming, and I knew it was going to absolutely change the way that I was working as a marketer and also as a manager. I manage a lot of young teams, and I knew it was going to be changing the way that they worked going forward. So I began to immerse myself in the technology of the times. And fast forward to November of 2022, and this little tool called ChatGPT comes onto the market. 6 weeks later, I began training others. And again, now I've trained thousands of folks around the world. But what you need to know is that you don't have to be an AI expert. You're going to be able to do everything that I'm showing you when you leave here today. Now, we're going to cover a lot of ground, a lot of material. It's going to go pretty quick, and I hope we're going to have time for all the questions at the end. But fear not, at the end, I'm going to give you a link to a quick survey and then a link to all of the prompts that you're seeing here today, plus a whole bunch other. There's more than 10 pages that you're going to get. And these are specifically designed to help you with things like job search activities, research, your own personal branding, etc. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to be 3 parts to today's presentation. The first is going to be an overview of the key LLM platforms. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on the OpenAI platforms. I used to do all the different platforms, Anthropic, Gemini, etc. Unfortunately, it's gotten so huge that I could spend an entire presentation just talking about the different platforms. But we're going to look at some of the new features that are out there that you need to be aware of. Next, we're going to focus on prompting. I'm going to give you some techniques for how I think you can improve your prompting to get better results. And very importantly, we're going to get into the application of this prompting, seeing how you're going to be able to use this for various parts of your personal life and very much for your job search. We're also going to spend some time talking about customization. How can we get these models to look, sound, and feel maybe a little bit more the way we would like them to sound versus their default settings? If we have time at the end, I'm going to show you some of the advanced features in ChatGPT Plus that you might want to consider in terms of your own learning journey and whether you want to upgrade and add these into your toolbox. We're also going to talk a little bit about how Gen AI is currently evolving this year. So I normally start by asking folks to put their rating of where they are on their personal journey. When I was speaking here 2 years ago, most everybody in this room would have been at level 1. They would have been a complete novice. But what I'm finding when I'm speaking today is there have been more and more people that have moved at least into the basic awareness and the casual user phase. And we're even getting some regular users, people that are integrating this into their daily workflow. A couple of caveats before we dive in. First of all, this technology is evolving and changing very quickly, literally day by day. And so what I need you to know is that your experience and interaction is going to be a little bit different than maybe what you're seeing today. And what you need to anticipate that's going to continue to happen. The way these models work 2 months from now or 2 years from now is going to change and is going to be very different. Secondly, if you are in a job now and you're working on a company system, please, please, please try and understand what their policy is on the use of generative AI. Don't want to get you in trouble. Don't want to put your company in any jeopardy with their data. So I used to begin these presentations by doing a deep dive on the history of AI. But what I'd like you to know is today we're going to be talking about a subgroup of a subgroup of a subgroup of AI, specifically called generative AI. And this technology has been around essentially in the academic world since 2014. But for most of us, we know when it broke onto the scene back in November of 2022 with this little tool called ChatGPT. And so I wanted to start by talking about the etymology of the word ChatGPT, because there's actually a little bit of learning in there. First of all, we're familiar with chat because we've been doing that for years. We've been interacting with chatbots, on the internet or on phones, etc. That's really just the interface way of how we're communicating. What's changing a little bit is it started off with text, but now we're able to interact with things like voice, pictures, files, etc. The really important part is the GPT part of this name. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Generative meaning that it's able to create completely new content, which is a different way of working than the old machine learning style of IT, where you kind of said, if this happens, then that happens. These new generative models are able to do things like look at 1,000 pictures of a cat and then generate or create something that's completely new that's never been created before. The P stands for pre-trained. These models have been trained on a huge corpus of information. The latest models, over 1 trillion parameters, essentially the depth and the breadth of the internet up until their training date. Last but not least, T stands for transformer. And this is really how the language model takes the text or the voice that we have, tokenizes it, converts it, and digitizes it into something that the model can understand, sends it off to all these neural networks, gets its answer back, and converts it back into voice or text so that we can understand it. I put this up because ChatGPT always used to start with this on their home screen. They don't put it up anymore, but it's still got some truth to it. First of all, these models may occasionally generate incorrect information. Why is that? Well, I just said they've been trained on the depth and the breadth of the internet, and we all know how perfect the internet is, right? There's no bad information out there, no inaccuracies at all. So, we've heard that adage, data or garbage in, garbage out. Same thing happens here. Secondly, they may occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content. So in the early days of ChatGPT, the model was known for doing things like telling a user to divorce their wife and marry the chatbot. Well, that's not happening so much these days, but the models are, we will read about them fairly recently, doing things that are kind of going a little rogue out there. So you need to be aware of that. You also need to understand that there's a little bias that exists. Last but not least, limited knowledge of the world after its training date. So I mentioned they're trained on a billion or a trillion parameters that are out there. And normally that's a finite date on information that they're trained up to. Now, what's evolved in the last 2 years or so is the models now are utilizing web search to augment that foundational training. So 2 years ago, if I was using ChatGPT and I was trying to find something that happened 2 weeks ago, the model didn't know about it. So what would it do? It would make something up. It would essentially hallucinate. These days, it's able to go out, search the web, find more accurate information, and incorporate that into its underlying training. So which platform to use? There are a bajillion sources now that you can go to. And if you've got one that you're comfortable with, whether it's Gemini or whether it's Perplexity, absolutely continue to use that. Much of what I'm going to give you today in terms of prompt training, you're going to be able to transfer across all of these platforms. I tend to focus on ChatGPT. Why? Because in this learning environment, I'm finding that about 90% of the users are utilizing ChatGPT as their primary tool out there. When I look at developers and what developers are working with the most, they're working primarily with the ChatGPT tool. So I've geared this presentation, again, a little bit more towards that platform. So how can you access ChatGPT? There's actually so many ways now for you to be able to access the system. First of all, you can go straight onto the web interface on your computer. You don't even need an account these days to get in. However, if you don't have that account, you might not be able to access your prompting history, which you're probably going to want to go back to at some point in the future. The other thing you can do on your computer is download the desktop app. And that has some added features to it that you won't find on the web. You can actually do things like take screenshots of what you're working on your computer and instantly import that into the model. That's a functionality that's already built in. So it makes it easy for the computer or for ChatGPT to see what you're doing on your computer and give you feedback on it. The other one that I love and advocate for is downloading a mobile app. And that's primarily because it's got a voice interface that you can use when you're on the go. I go out and run 4 to 5 miles a day, although maybe you can't tell that. My wife tells me I need to run more. But what's fantastic is I can use it as a learning tool because with the voice interface, I can ask it to do things like teach me about the wines of the Southern Rhone Valley, and then create a quiz for me. So if you're out there learning about a company and you want to do a Q&A, you want to have it do research for you and have a conversation about the research it's finding, you can utilize this mobile app on the go. So let's talk about some of the options, because one of the questions I get the most is, hey, Rusty, is it worth for me to upgrade and get a premium account on ChatGPT? And my usual answer is, no, not unless you're starting to run into some limitations, either with what the model is giving you or the limits that it's giving you to use some of the features out there. And for most people, that's not a problem. But let's talk about what some of the differences are. So looking at the free version of ChatGPT, it is currently using the GPT-4o model that has an hourly cutoff, meaning that you can use it X number of times per hour. Once you reach that limit, it's going to kick you into a smaller model that's out there. Still a very good model, but one that's smaller, that's conserving a little bit more energy for OpenAI. The training date for this is October of 2023. So right now, that foundational training data is about 18 months old, you have the ability to access this on apps on your, Apple phone or your Android phone. And one of the big changes since the last time I spoke is the token limits. Now, a quick explanation about what tokens are. That's essentially the amount of information both in your input and the output that you're going to get back from the model. When I was here 9 months ago speaking, I was talking about limits where the maximum input and output for the free version was about 4,000 tokens, which equates to about 3,000 words that you could put in or get out. These days, even the free version has 128,000 input max with a 4,000 output max. So it can take in much more information now than it could take a year ago. You can upload files on the free version. When I asked it last week how many it was taking, it said 3 per day for the free version. I've actually been able to get 5 on my free account uploaded a day. Also, there's something new that was introduced, and we're going to take a look at a little bit later, called deep research. And this is definitely something you're going to want to use in your job search. I'll show you how to do that a little bit later on. You also have access to the GPT store, which is kind of like a free app store where you can go in and find very specialized tools that are out there for different functionalities. So maybe you're in internal audit and you're looking to see if there is a tool that's specific for internal audit. Or maybe you're a job seeker and you're looking for something that's going to help you with resume optimization. You can access all of that for free. So then the question becomes, why would you pay for the paid version? I am a paid version user. That's because I am what I'd say a power user, using it pretty much all day long. It's $20 a month, and you have access to 7 different models. And that is, for most people, a little overwhelming just deciding which model I'm going to use for which task that's out there. You almost need a PhD to understand it these days. I think that's going to change in the future. I think they're going to be simplifying that interface. The latest model for GPT Plus has been trained up to June of 2024, so it's about a year old. But the training dates vary by the model. So each of those 7 models might have a slightly different training date. Let's talk about token limits with this new model. 1 million tokens you can give it, so roughly 750,000 words, multiple books you could be sharing with this new model. Some of the other models, it's 128K, still a huge capacity. You can upload 80 files every 3 hours that are 512 megabytes each. And here for me might be the game changer is you have access to 25 deep research prompts per month. And when we take a look at deep research later, you're going to understand why I'm saying that might be worth it in the job search world. You have access to the GPT store, but not only that, you can create your own custom GPTs. And I'm going to show you some of the ones that I've created a little bit later you're going to be able to use for job search. There's also a functionality called tasks, which I'll demonstrate, and projects, which helps you to organize all of your old prompts. Not to miss out on Microsoft Copilot, there is a free web-based version that's out there. It is using the GPT-4 model, which is search tuned, so it's going to operate slightly different than what ChatGPT is utilizing. Training date, again, October 23. 128K token limit is my guess. It would not tell me when I asked it what its token limit was. It was very deceptive. But I would guess based on the 4 model that it's going to be 128. Can you attach files? Yes and no. In the web version, you're able to attach images in chat, but you need to be working within Microsoft 365 if you want to attach any other kind of file like Word or PowerPoint or Excel. So let's talk a little bit about how the current web interface is looking, because it's actually changed in the last 2 weeks. So if you're a free version user, you're going to log in. And one of the things that you may have noticed in the last 2 weeks is in your toolbar on the left-hand side, you may now be seeing Sora in there. Sora is the image and video generator that they've launched as a separate platform. However, when I checked with some of my colleagues that are using the free version, what they've told me is they're able to access Sora, but only to create images. They're not able to do any of the video generation in the free version. Now that may vary. They may be rolling it out, and you may be able to get access to that now or in the coming weeks. There's also something called library in there. So as you're creating images in ChatGPT, it's going to store them in a sort of picture gallery format so you can go and find any images that you've created in the past. Another little button over here that's important to understand is this temporary button. If you're just looking to do a quick search, you don't think it's going to be a prompt that you're coming back to in the future, and you want to try and keep your prompt history clean, you can click the temporary button. And that prompt is not going to move over into your history afterwards. It is also not going to be shared as training data to OpenAI. So there's a little bit of a privacy plus for utilizing that. Do know, though, if you have a prompt and you use temporary, it's going to disappear. You're not going to be able to find it later. The toolbar has changed in the last 2 weeks. So if you click on that button in the search bar, you're going to see the drop-down menu that's there. It's going to give you the ability to create an image. So if you want to create an image in ChatGPT, so not in Sora, but in ChatGPT, you're going to hit create an image and then put your image prompt in. If you want to make sure that it's searching the web, you're going to enable that search web feature. If you want to write, almost like you would write in Microsoft Word and be able to have an interactive writing tool, you're going to click that, and I'm going to show you that when we get to our writing section a little bit later. The next one down is run deep research, and you see a little thing, maybe you can't see it here in the audience, but there's a number next to it that says 5 left. So deep research, we'll look at that later. You're going to get 5 deep research prompts per month. So we're going to talk about how to use them effectively. And then last but not least is this tool here at the bottom. Think longer. And this is one of the big changes that has happened in ChatGPT in the last 4 months. So up until January of this year, we were all working with things called GPT models, generative pre-trained transformer models. These were primarily models that were geared towards language, towards human-like prompt generation, great for creative writing and conversational AI. But sometimes they weren't so good at logic tasks or things like math. And so in January of this year, they introduced a new series of models that begin with the letter O. So instead of it being GPT-4, it's now O3 or O4. And that's going to be an indication to you that it's some type of logic model. So these models are very different. If you type a prompt into ChatGPT, you're going to start seeing the response right away. It's going to go to all of its foundational training and come back very quickly. A reasoning model works differently. It starts by thinking through the process to say, how am I going to solve this problem to get to the best answer of the prompt? In fact, you can actually see what it is thinking about while it's doing that. And so consequently, it can take much, much longer to answer your prompt for you. Sometimes it's 30 seconds, sometimes it's 3 minutes, or sometimes it's 5 minutes. So it's going to behave very differently, but it's going to be a bit more logical in its approach to its problem solving. So you might say, well, gosh, if this is a brand new tool, it could be better, and aren't I going to use it for everything? Well, with these things thinking longer, they're using a lot more power and energy and GPU consumption for companies like OpenAI and Anthropic. So they cost those companies a lot more. So they set daily system limits. So you can't use these things all the time. They tend to be slower. So if you're looking for quick answers, you're probably not going to want a reasoning tool. You're going to want to use the original GPT tool. Again, higher energy cost. And because these are geared towards logic, if you're looking for something that's creative or for brainstorming or for writing, you might not get something that's quite as creative as what you're going to get out of a GPT model. Do other platforms have reasoning models besides ChatGPT? Absolutely. Gemini, Copilot, Claude, all of these have them. But the caveat is they're probably not going to be set to a reasoning model by default. So just like with ChatGPT, you may need to go into these models if you're using them and select one that is going to say something like thinking or reasoning or even deep research. So now we're getting to the second part, which is about prompting. And I love to use the metaphor with all of these groups to say, I want you to think about ChatGPT as if it was a brand new intern coming into your company. It had the training from the best schools, it had great knowledge, it was anxious to help you, but it didn't know your company, it didn't know how you like to work, and it needed guardrails and guidelines to be successful. And so just as you wouldn't stick an intern into a closet for 6 months and say, work on the presentation for the CMO, you have to think the same way with prompting. What is the information? How are you going to train it going forward? So I'm going to share 6 components that I think are helpful in crafting good prompts. They are somewhat in order of importance, but my caveat is that you may not need to use all 6 of them all of the time. Sometimes you might be able to get away with 4 or 3 or 2 or maybe even 1 sometimes. But I'm going to show you how they shape and change the way a prompt works. So this is the most important one. We call it task. Task is what is essentially articulating the end goal to the model. Tasks typically start with action verbs, things like analyze, summarize, create, or translate. And so let's start with this as our basic building block, and we're going to create a fictitious prompt, research 3 cookie recipes. So what the model is going to do now is it is going to go out to its 1 trillion training parameters and look for 3 cookie recipes. And as you can imagine, it can come back with anything from Japanese marshmallow cookies to grandma's chocolate chip to something that we've never even heard of before. So what it needs really is the guardrails now. It needs constraints. And that's where context comes in. Context helps to really constrain those endless possibilities and focus the model on what it needs to look for. It can be one of the trickiest things to determine how much information do I actually need to give it. For me, generally, I ask myself this question: does the model really understand my background of what's going on, what success looks like for me, kind of what my goal is, and what environment I'm operating in? So let's now add some context into our prompt in red. I have a gluten allergy and I'm seeking a dessert that I can eat. So you can see that this is now shaping a very different prompt. It's going to go out with a much more refined focus and pull these gluten allergies that are helping me to achieve success, something that I can eat. Next is exemplar, which is just a fancy word for saying examples. If you have examples, I tell folks, add them into your prompts. Large language models love having a little bit of a framework. It's not required, but it will help them. So let's now add in gray. Please include recipes by celebrity chefs, for example, Martha Stewart and Rachel Ray. So now the model's going to go out and it's going to look for these gluten allergies that I'm going to be able to eat. And it's going to start to look for Martha Stewart and Rachel Ray, but it's also going to look for people like Martha Stewart and Rachel Ray. And so I may get back results that include people like Jacques Pepin or Bobby Flay or someone like that. But again, it's helping to frame it for them. Persona. Persona is essentially the pair of glasses that we would like the model to look through to solve our problem. We can ask these models to pretend to be a managing director at a large bank or Steve Jobs. And you can imagine that asking it to assume the persona of someone like Robin Williams versus Steve Jobs is going to give you a very different result. But my point is you can add in some very specific expertise. So if there are well-documented experts in your area, whether it's marketing, whether it's PR, whether it's public speaking, whatever it might be, you can include that area of specialization in your persona. So now in blue, I want you to act as a nutritionist advising me on healthy eating and macronutritional information. So we've given it that persona. It's going to be answering that question from the perspective of a nutritionist, right? With the gluten-free recipes, right? 3 of them that are coming from celebrity chefs. Format. People often skip over this and they just take whatever ChatGPT gives them, which is typically paragraphs or bullet points. But folks, you can get so many different formats out of this, from markdown formats to tables to Python code, HTML code, tons of different technical codes that are out there, citation formats, HTML formats. And so if you work in a specific technical area with specific types of technical files, you can get it to format a lot of information in files beyond what I'm even showing you here. Tone. Everyone forgets this as well. This is typically the voice that we want the model to respond to us with. Tone typically are adjectives or adverbs, things like humorous and informal, professional, friendly, things like that. Again, telling it to respond, especially if you're in a writing prompt. Research prompt, maybe you don't need to use tone so much, but if you're in a writing prompt and you're getting it to do something, whether it's communicating something in a cover letter or an email communication or in a LinkedIn post that you want to make, tone can shape the kind of response that you're going to get. So some tips for writing strong prompts: begin with the end in mind. Identify kind of what your purpose is, and then de-engineer it and say, what am I going to need to give the model for it to be able to answer correctly? Does it need specific data? Does it need some limitations because I wanted to put it in a specific format? Use simple language. You don't have to speak in Shakespearean English. In fact, simple can be very, very good for these models. More importantly is to be very specific with what you want. Use examples, as we've talked about, and you also want to avoid leading questions. These models want to please you, and so if you have a political ideological slant that you start taking it down, it will gladly follow you down that rabbit hole. So try and keep things a bit neutral. Very importantly, test and iterate. If you write a prompt and you don't get the answer that you want, first thing to do is just hit regenerate and see if it gives you a new answer that might be better. If not, go back and take a look at the information you've given it. Do you, need more industry or data to be incorporated in it? Have you been very clear on your topic or your theme? Someone wrote me last night at 9 p.m. and said, I just got so much garbage out of ChatGPT today. And I said, well, show me the prompt that you wrote. And their prompt was so convoluted in terms of what was the main topic or the theme that I'm sure that poor model really struggled to figure out, what do I need to deliver at the end of the day? Think about the constraints that you're putting on it. If you just want a paragraph and it's giving you 300 words, then you might need to say something like, make it less than 75 words or make it longer than 75 words. What is the structure? Does it need any original text? And does it need specific guidance on editing instructions? If you're ever unsure, here's a tip. You can include this at the end of your prompt. If you need further information, ChatGPT, please ask me 3 to 5 clarifying questions. So you give it your prompt and you say, if you need more information, tell me. And it will ask you for the context that it needs to improve its prompt. So here's the interface. We talked about this earlier. When you create a prompt, all of your historical ones, if you didn't click temporary, are going to appear on this sidebar on the left-hand side. You do have the ability to clear your history and actually turn it off. If you don't want to save it for any privacy concerns, you have the ability to go into your settings and do that. If you have history now and you turn it off, know that it may take a couple of weeks for all of that information to clear. You also have the ability to rename or delete specific prompts. So in that left-hand sidebar, you'll see the prompt come up and there's going to be 3 little dots that you can click. One of those options is to share that prompt. So I could send that prompt to Richie over here, and Richie could see the prompt that I created. I could also rename it if I didn't like what ChatGPT called it, and I wanted something that was easier for me to remember 2 weeks from now for job search or for a project or a company that I'm researching. I can rename it. And of course, I can just delete that single prompt and remove it from my timeline. So thank you, Rusty, for all the help on prompting, but how can this help me professionally? Let's talk about that. So one of the things that all of us, I think, are doing in job search is quite a bit of research. So a starting point for me is asking ChatGPT to act as a corporate researcher. And here we can actually see the different components of the prompt, right? I want you to act as a corporate researcher persona. Tell me about the company Mary Kay. Task. For example, how many employees do they have? What is their vision and mission, etc.? That's exemplar. Include other key information to help orient me to their business. This is context. This is what success looks like for me. Provide the information in bullet points. That's format. So you see within this one prompt, I've used essentially 5 different components of the prompt. And now I know this is too small for those of you in the audience to see, but you need to know that generally it's doing a great job of giving me exactly what I want. You can see it's in bullet point format out there. In that circle there, it's citing the information where it pulled everything from. One of the things that you need to get good at as a user of ChatGPT is becoming an editor. All of us for years have been the copywriter. We've been creating things, but we're moving into an era where we're going to have things that are generating information from us, and it's going to be important for us to scrutinize that and get really good with our editorial skills. Is that information accurate? Where did it come from? Am I comfortable using this and forwarding this on going forward? So ChatGPT did a really great job of doing that. Now, if I wanted to take a look at a public company that's out there, right, that has information on the internet, and I wanted to understand things like historic growth and profit, I can get it to do that as well. And so in this prompt, I'm imagining it to be a financial analyst, and I wanted to search for annual reports from the following 3 companies: Amway, Natura, Herbalife. Analyze the reports for the years 2018 to 22, extract the information on net sales, and calculate year-on-year growth. Organize the information for all companies in a table format. So here's what I'd like you to take away from this slide. See everything in yellow there? I have actually given it 5 different tasks for it to do within a prompt. And you can ask it to do the same thing. This is called chain of thought thinking. It's where you get the model to think through the process that you want it to follow. It's essentially like getting it to use one of those thinking models that I was talking about earlier, but getting the GPT model to do that for you as well. So here's what it came back with. It put it in a table format, right? Which is cool because I can take tables and I can export them into Excel and I can manipulate those tables as well. A couple of things that I would say, especially if you're working with numbers in ChatGPT. First of all, consider using one of these new reasoning models that has been introduced in the last 4 months. You're going to get something that's going to think through the process. It's going to think through the source that it's going to, and it's going to pick the best choice of where it's going to get its information from. Once you've gotten its response, if it's not telling you what the source is, make sure that you ask it. If it comes back to you and it says something like, this is in my foundational training, I wouldn't trust that for numbers, right? If it, however, is coming back and saying, I pulled this from the most recent 10K documents, analyst reports, annual reports, etc., you're going to be getting something that's a little bit more trustworthy. Last but not least, sometimes ChatGPT has been known to guess with numbers. Now, if you want to verify if it's guessing, it's not going to guess the same thing twice. So what you would do is just hit that little regenerate button and then go back and forth between your 2 responses to see if the numbers match. If they don't match, it's telling you that there's something fishy there. How about creating a SWOT for the company that you're getting ready to interview with? So in this case, ChatGPT, please create a SWOT in tabular form for JCPenney's. And so what ChatGPT, it actually knew that I wanted to look in that 2x2 box format and gave me the SWOT. Now, earlier I showed you a tool for doing research on a company. You could also integrate a SWOT into your research prompt. What it might struggle with is putting multiple formats out there. So if you're looking for bullet points for this part and you're looking for a 2x2 format for this point, the model might struggle right now. I think that'll be changing in the coming year or so, but that's why I've got it separately here. So one of the things I talk about is when you get this information, you get it at a 25,000 foot level. Here is my SWOT. What do I want to do next? I want to do a deeper dive. So maybe you do something like take a look at one of their weaknesses. In this case, it says struggles with declining sales and profitability. And I go back to the model and I say, please elaborate on that. What is your source of information? What is driving that? So that you can really understand. And this gets into problem solving for job seekers, right? Walt talked earlier about who you are, what you do, how you help. You need to have an approach for understanding going into an interview of how you're going to be able to help that company. So using a SWOT to understand those weaknesses can be very powerful. Many of us are in online meetings like we're on today, right? Everybody was dropping all of their details into the Zoom meeting, everyone that's online. Well, here's a little tip that you can utilize if you're in online meetings and people are formatting their information very similarly. You can ask ChatGPT to extract that and organize it for you. So the way I do it is ask it to look at the attached Zoom meeting chat. So when you're in a chat meeting, you can save the chat as a text file at the end. You're going to give that to ChatGPT and simply say, pull out the name, the industry, the profile, the address, and put it into tabular form. And ChatGPT in 30 seconds is going to give you something that looks like that, which you can then actually drop into your contact list. So it makes tracking your contacts something that's somewhat automated and that takes maybe 10 seconds instead of 10 minutes. If you're on LinkedIn, you're probably meeting a lot of people, maybe doing some discovery calls with folks. I like to understand and build affinity points with people before I speak with them. So yes, I look at their profile and I might even give that profile to LinkedIn. But one of the things I also do is try and see what they are writing about. What is their domain of knowledge expertise that's out there? And so what I'll do is I'll go into their posts and I will scroll through their posts, maybe looking at 12 months of their posts if they're a casual poster. And I will do this little thing called Control P, which allows me to print that. But I don't print it. I just save it as a PDF and I give it to ChatGPT and say, tell me about what this person posts about. What is most important? What do they get the most engagement from? What are the common themes that are out there? And that helps me to take all of this information and have a bird's eye view as to, what is really important to this person when I get on a phone call with them. You can also help it to consolidate your about section. So I've worked with Terry Sullivan. Some of you know Terry Sullivan, who is an expert on LinkedIn and helping people format their profile correctly. I've learned a lot from him. And one of the things is we know that people scan information, right? The average recruiter spends how many seconds looking at a resume? 4 seconds? 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 7 seconds. They're not going to look at a lot, right? So you need to make things scannable for them. And if I were to ask you, if you look on the left or on the right, which part is going to be more scannable? Where are they going to be able to take more bite-sized pieces, right? So I'm giving this prompt. Imagine you're a LinkedIn expert. Help me craft the about section. I will provide you my resume. So I give it my resume and I tell it I want it to create 3 distinct sections, no more than 2,600 characters, right? Because that's all that LinkedIn will let us put in that about section. The first paragraph should summarize who I am, what I do, and how I help. Gosh, that sounds familiar, Walt. Using clear and direct language. Second section include 3 to 5 bullet points showcasing my key accomplishments or quantified success, placing them in order of importance. Keep these short and focused. Again, we want them scannable. Last but not least, a call to action. So here's what it's done. Again, I know this is too small for you to read, but please know that the who I am, what I do, how I help is in there. You see those little check marks. Those are my top accomplishments that are very scannable for someone to see, boom, 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 exactly what I've done. And then I've got a call to action there at the bottom. Another one, and I'm going to include this in the prompts. I'm going to skip forward, but it's how to tell your network that you're open to work and do it in a different way. A lot of people use the default system that LinkedIn has, and you see the exact same language for everybody every day. You know, I'm looking and appreciate your help. You can create something that's much more compelling for LinkedIn. So how about analyzing emerging industry trends? Maybe you're getting ready to change industry and you're not an expert in the area where you're going. So tell ChatGPT that you wanted to act as an expert in that specific industry. Ask it to identify the 3 top trends in that specific industry. In this case, I'm looking at clean energy in the United States. I don't want to look globally because I want to make sure I understand what's happening in the US. Please cite your sources, do not hallucinate, and put them in bullet point formats. So again, what we do is we start at that 25,000 foot level, and I see that what those macro trends are. And now what I'm going to do is go in with a follow-up trend, a chain of thought trend that says now expand on a specific trend. I'm going to ask it to include names of companies that are leading in that trend. And, you know, what are the products that they're creating? So now when I go into an interview, I know what's happening with the trends. I know who the key competitors are. I know what the new products are that they are launching. So I'm going to go into a brand new tool that is available to free users now. This came out for the free version on April 24th. It is something called Deep Research. It is essentially an agentic tool that autonomously performs multi-step research, very in-depth, and provides you with a comprehensive report with citations. It is fantastic for company research. It is fantastic for looking at industry trends. Here's the challenge. Free users, you only get 5 of these a month. So one of the things you want to make sure is that your prompt, your starting prompt, is very good. Because if your prompt isn't good and you're like, oh, I screwed that up, I need to change my prompt, you've already used one of them and you have to go back to do it. So I want to show you a little hack that I do, which is I start with one of those logic models to create my prompt for me. So here's what I did. I selected the logic model, the thinking deeply model, and I said, I want your help creating a deep research prompt. I am interviewing with company X, and I gave them the website, and I need to orient myself to the company history, their business model, their product, their key competitors, anything else that would help me thoroughly prepare for the interview, create a detailed, deep research prompt to help me achieve this goal. So now look at the prompt that this prompt created for me, right? So it is starting off with persona, act as a McKinsey level strategy consultant. It starts off with an objective. It talks about the deliverable format, fast fact snapshot, company history and milestones, timelines, business model comparison, product technology portfolio, go-to-market distribution, financial and operational, quota numbers, gives me all the different sources that it's going to pull from, right? The end result is a 27-page report. This model went out and it thought for more than 2 hours and 15 minutes. It looked at 117 different citations and sources to build this model. And I knew what those sources were going to be in the beginning before I even prompted. So I could figure out, is that a source I wanted to look at? No, it's not. Let's change it to something else that's out there. It's including an appendix, bibliography of all of the sources that it's gone to. So if you want a comprehensive company report to prepare for an interview, you're going to probably not find a tool that's more comprehensive than this. So a couple of other ideas. ChatGPT is really great at looking at two different resources and creating and analyzing them. So in this case, we're going to ask it to analyze a resume against a job description. So here's the prompt I use. I'm going to skip over this just in the essence of time. You're going to find this in the prompt guideline. But what it's going to do essentially is tell me where there's synergies and gaps within my resume. And so the output came back and it's showing me here's where the alignment was. And on the right side, potential gaps that I need to address in my resume. And at the bottom, you can see that I actually took this resume and I dropped it into JobScan, which is an online platform that rates your resume against a job description to understand how good a fit am I. And you can see that at the beginning of this process, I was scoring a 39. So here's what I did. I went through a refinement process. I began by saying, based on the job description, please identify the top 8 headline words that I should include in my customized resume. Put these in order of importance. So going back to the idea that people are spending 4 seconds, 7 seconds, 8 seconds scanning a resume, we want to make sure the information that they're scanning aligns. Those headline words at the top are going to be words that they're looking for. If they're asking for global marketing strategy, you need to have global marketing strategy in there. So now I'm able to pull those out, prioritize them, make sure that they're in alignment. Next, I say, based on the job description, please suggest key experiences and achievements from my resume that I should highlight when customizing. So one of the problems I have is my resume is huge because I've been working a while, right? And I know they're not going to read everything, but I want them to pull the most important things. So ChatGPT can help to do that. I actually use a 20-page master resume, and it will pull from all of the things that I have in there to help me build out then what I need in my customized resume. Next, I craft that executive summary that we have at the top. And I say, based on the job description, my strengths, and any gaps, how should I customize my professional summary in less than 60 words? Now, sometimes you might have something that you want to make sure it's on page 3 and someone sees it on page 1. So you can tell it to pull that forward. So for me, I worked for Unilever, which is a blue chip company. But because that was a few years ago, that appears on page 2 or 3 of my resume. So I can actually get that incorporated into my executive summary. So at the end of the day, that resume that I started off with a score of 39, through that refinement process, I'm able to move it to a 73% match. Now, this wasn't a particularly great fit for me to begin with, so if it was even stronger, I probably could have taken that number even higher. So I said it's great at analyzing 2 documents. The other thing that it can do is analyze 2 and then generate something completely new. And in this case, it's going to be a cover letter. Again, I'm asking it to act as a professional cover letter writer. I want it to be a maximum of 275 words. And I tell it I'm giving it the job description and my resume. And I'm going to get this response back. I know you can't read this. It's pretty good to begin with, but some of you might say, it's a bit long, right? So here's the great thing about ChatGPT is you can just say, shorten this by 25%, 30%, and it's going to automatically do that, and it's going to keep the best information that's out there. You might say, I don't like the voice, tone, and style. And so you can just ask it to say, if it's too serious, maybe it's, please write this in a more professional and friendly style, and it will go back and apply that voice, tone, and style. Again, you always, always, always want to double check, especially when you're getting it to look at multiple documents to see what information it's pulling. So my example here is the job description was looking for 10 years of experience. I actually had 20 years of experience, but ChatGPT defaulted to the job description and it said Rusty has 10 years of experience. And so that's why you need to be that good editor to be able to spot those things and say, okay, I need to correct that and make sure they know that Rusty has 20 years of experience. So now I want to talk about writing and how we can use one of the newer tools that's out there called Canvas. So on your search bar, you've got the tool menu. You're going to click that. You're going to go to the writing section. And when you do that, the prompt results are going to come up and they're going to look a little bit different. They're going to be in this kind of window format where the result is on the right-hand side. And now our prompt is all the way down here in the left, the bottom left. And so now you can interact with this document, and you'll notice that in the lower right-hand side, there's this little tool down here. Let's see. And it does things like allow us to adjust the length, the reading level, the polish, add emojis, etc. And so I can interact with this text now. I can select, for instance, just a paragraph, and I can go in and adjust the length. Using this slider, I'm going to make it shorter. I'm going to actually make it the shortest, and then I click go. And let's watch what happens here. It's going to select that text that I highlighted. Notice how large it is. And it's going to come back and it's just going to shorten that. So it's about 50% shorter right now. So my point is that you can find little bits and pieces that you want to change and customize. You can actually add in your own text. So you can write on top of this just like you would into a Microsoft Word document, and then have the document add some polish to everything that you're doing. In this case, I also was changing the reading level here. So if you don't find that it's sophisticated enough, maybe you take it up to graduate school level terminology, or conversely, make the language a bit more simple. One of the big things that was a topic when AI came out is if everyone's using AI to write, all AI is going to sound the same. And so I want to show you how you can change that. I'm going to use the example of a short section of Robert Frost's poem, The Road Not Taken. And the section says, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged into the woods, and I took the one less traveled. And that made all the difference. So now we're going to take that piece of prose and we're going to transform it into the immortal words of Tony Robbins, motivational speaker, right? And so let's see what Tony says, right? So at some point in your life, you're going to hit a crossroads. Two paths, one familiar, easy, comfortable. The other, it's uncertain, it's challenging, but that's where the growth happens. Right, guys, you can, as you're reading this, you can hear my bad Tony Robbins impersonation, right? But here's the point, is that the core of the message stays the same, even though the voice and the tone and the vocabulary and the number of sentences, all of that changes. So just to illustrate this, let's take it a step further. Let's look at this famous speaker, Ms. Kim Kardashian, right? Oh my God, you guys, like to this. So like I was literally standing there and there were these two roads, right? One was like the obvious choice, super basic, but the other totally different, kind of unexpected. And duh, I took the one that like nobody else was taking. And honestly, iconic, life-changing, right? So again, my same point is there. And to leave you with a native Texan here, Mr. Matthew McConaughey, all right. So if you were to look at all three of these, you were to look at what the essence is of what they're talking about, it would be the same concept, right? That road less travel. They would use a completely different voice, a completely different vocabulary, and you can get the model to do the same for you. So here's how. You can train it on your writing to begin with. So if you've got a piece of writing, maybe it's a cover letter that you've done in the past, maybe you wanted to analyze your email style, you can get it to do that by pasting a sample and asking it to analyze. And when I did that with my writing, it gave me this whole analysis, which then I can take that analysis and say, apply this to the next thing that I want to create. But I don't want to do that every time I have to write something. So let's talk about what our options are. Now that I've got the analysis of my writing style, I can copy and paste that, and I can now go to my custom instructions in ChatGPT. So I'm going to go to my profile, I'm going to go to my settings and something called custom instructions, and you're going to see a couple of boxes there. One of the boxes is, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? And that's where you're going to drop in your custom instructions. And again, you can turn this on and turn this off. So if you want to use it, you can turn it on and use custom instructions. If you don't want to use it, you can disable it. But now the model knows what your writing style is and how it should be applying that when it is responding. So I find a lot of people in HR these days that are in job search. A couple of HR uses to think about. First of all, for us job seekers, you can have ChatGPT actually interview you. I'm working on a custom GPT right now that's going to do that for you automatically. It's going to ask you about your introduction. It's going to ask you behavioral and functional questions. And it's going to grade you on things like your length, how consistent your speech is. Are you using a lot of filler words, etc. But you can have basically a mock interview if you want to practice. You can have it compare multiple candidates. So if you're doing the interviewing and you've got 8 or 10 different candidates, you can have it look and try and figure out who are the ones that I need to prioritize here. You can have it generate interview questions for you based on the resume and the job description. You can also use it for onboarding talent into new roles. And you're going to see a prompt later that's utilizing the book, The First 90 Days, to create your first 90-day roadmap. And here's the thing that I'd like you to take away from this slide is that these models have been trained on a ton of business literature. So it's not just words and things that they've been trained on, but they know books like Atomic Habits or Eat That Frog or The First 90 Days. And you can incorporate that knowledge, that level of specialization into your prompt if you want to pull that in. Let's talk about now some of the advanced features that are available in ChatGPT. I'm going to get through this quickly because we only got about 10 minutes left here. There's something called projects, which was added for Plus users this year. It allows you to now organize all of your prompts that are in the sidebar. And so now for me as a Plus user on my sidebar, I've got this little area that says projects. And I can create these little folders where I can put all these prompts, whether I'm researching a company or I've got a specific project that I'm working on, I can put it there. But let me show you one way that I'm using it is we were talking about writing styles. Well, what I can actually do is within that project file, give it specific knowledge that I want it to reference every time I use that project file. So in this case, I look at the project files that I've got here, and I've created 5 different writing styles that I can ask it to reference anytime I write a prompt within that project file. So whether I'm creating a LinkedIn professional post or whether it's a network follow-up email, I can have it reference the style of writing that I want to. I can actually give it custom instructions that say, hey, when I'm in a project, ask me what writing style I want to use, and it will automatically adopt that. Tasks. So task is a function, again, only available to GPT Plus subscribers right now, but it allows you to automate some of your daily activities. You can schedule things, you can track things, etc. How do I access it? First of all, I select that in one of those 7 models that I said I could use to schedule a task. And I might do things like ask it to search very specific company websites every morning at 8 a.m. and then to check for any new job descriptions and compare it against the search that it did the day before so that it's only pulling some of the new information out of that. So every morning, if I've got, 20 or 30 corporate websites that I check, I can have it do that checking for me automatically without me doing anything. And then at 9 o'clock, I come in and there's a little report and says, here's what's new for you to explore. Okay. So how's the technology evolving? First of all, it's becoming multimodal, meaning that it's not just text, but it's voice, it's images, it's sound, etc. We're going to have the ability for custom GPTs, which I'm going to show you here in a minute. What else? AI agents. You may have heard this term. That's the big term for 2025. We'll talk about that. And then something called vibe coding. So ChatGPT can see. It actually has had vision for more than a year. And this is maybe an important tool for you to understand because I think it changes the way AI is going. So what you can do with your phone, if you've got ChatGPT Plus, is just take a picture of a scribble like this, a whiteboard. How many of us have been in meetings like this? And what happens afterwards? Either somebody or somebody's assistant has to decipher all the hieroglyphics. But, ChatGPT is actually able to do all of that for you. The vision is not just stationary, but you can actually enable the video camera. So I'm not sure if this is going to work, but this is me with my car doing a car repair. So the sound isn't playing through, but I'm essentially asking ChatGPT, hey, what am I looking at? What part am I pointing to over here? And it is telling me, oh, that's your automatic braking system. And I can say to it, okay, that's broken. What part do I need to order to replace that? And it will go out and it will look. So whether you're doing home repair, home decoration, you can see some of the posts that I've made about home decoration and how you can take a room, take a picture of it, take all of the furniture out, and then add a whole new set of furniture back into the room that you have. These vision capabilities are incredible. Now, beyond playing with tools like that, start to think about when these models are able to see in their environment and be able to react to, physical stimulus, whether it's sound, whether it's images, and not just text. That's the way things are moving. Text to video, I mentioned earlier, Sora has been out now since December of this past year. Boy, everything is running slow. The GPT store. So all of you, including free users, can access the GPT store to find customized apps that are out there, including apps that might be related to job search. So you'll go over to your toolbar on the left-hand side. There'll be something that says Explore GPTs. You click on that and you come to an environment like this, and you simply type what you want to look for, whether it's auditing or marketing tools or image generation, whatever it might be, including job search tools. So I typed in ATS, and you can see all of the tools that are associated with creating your resume and creating things that are adapted to the applicant tracking systems. And once you go to it, it looks a little bit like that. You start the chat and it's free to use. If you're a Plus user, you can actually train your own custom GPTs on your own data. And so I've actually created a number of GPTs. You'll see some of them in the links today. One that I created was on salary GPTs. So it is able to reference a lot of the training that is out there on salary negotiation. It consolidates that. You can load in your old offer, you can load in your new offer, and it's going to compare those things for you. But my point is if you want to create a custom application trained on very proprietary data, you can do that as a Plus subscriber. 2025 is the year of the agents, right? So we first heard these terms like back when the Matrix came out, but the reality is happening now. These guys are a little bit different than the large language models where you're, asking for information, it's giving you information back. They can do a couple of things. They first of all tend to have more autonomy than your regular large language model is. So they can take actions and decisions on their own. They may be very focused on specific goals and tasks that are out there, and are able to interact with their environment in a very different way. So they're able to go out to the web, they're able to interact with your internal tools, the internal data that you have, and do things externally that are out there through API applications. They have learning capabilities, and they also are able to interact with other agents that are there. So I have been continuing my own education in AI. One of the things that I've been doing is creating agentic workflows. And you can now create agents that are almost like the boss agent that delegates the work to the worker agents that go off and do all of the work, and they come back and they consolidate it. And there's yet another agent that is actually pulling it all together and deciding what we're going to keep from the work that the other agents did. So you're almost creating, these little work, HR workflows for different screen here. This is a
Rusty, I think we lost your audio.
okay.
No, there you're back.
Back? Okay. So we're in the Q&A section. I was just saying here, this is the QR code that will take you to a survey. After the survey, look for the link that takes you to my prompt download.
So question, here we go.
Steve, yes, sir.
An important task is researching target companies, like trying to identify them. So if we worked in a large company, we're trying to find companies that are smaller and maybe we don't know about that are operating in Texas or in the area. Maybe they're headquartered in another state, but they have operations here and they're potential targets. So I'm having trouble identifying. And so I'll say, hey, try to find companies that do this, but that are smaller, and it'll just hallucinate and give me all kinds of grief. And it just keeps telling me the same companies I already know about.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had conversations actually with both Pete Hernandez and Mike Ray about this. They teach how to use reference solutions to be able to identify target companies. I still think that's the best tool for doing it versus where these models are. One thing you might try, Steve, is utilizing one of the logic models or the deep research models. They're going to be much more thorough with the vetting of their resources. The hallucination levels are going to be much, much lower than what you're going to get in a traditional GPT model.
Other questions? Yep.
Thanks, Rusty, for doing this. This is great. Some questions on the creating your own agents. Within ChatGPT, do they give you, like, when you talked about creating the workflows, do they recommend certain tools to create those workflows? Is this kind of standard? And then second part of the question is, for those GPTs that are available in the store, going back to the early days of smartphones, like with the App Store for Apple and Google Play, you had to be, in some cases, worried about what type of information they might take from your phone if you load that app on the phone. Are there any kind of guardrails or anything in place to protect you from some of those GPTs that might be doing some nefarious stuff that they don't say that they're going to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, the GPTs that are available on the web store are web-based, so they're not downloaded onto your phone. So they don't have specific actions. They're running on the OpenAI servers that are out there, and they're going to be governed by the same security policies that OpenAI has for the general users for the ChatGPT. I still encourage folks to go out once a quarter, take a look at what the privacy statements are in terms of what they're doing with their data, how they share it, et cetera. When in doubt, always be careful. Don't give it any information that you wouldn't be normally putting out there on the internet, especially if you have those kind of concerns. Your earlier question was on the agentic capabilities within ChatGPT. So they're very limited right now within that model. So for instance, you could say that the task functionality that I described there is agentic. It's going off and it's doing something without me clicking it on its own. So you have that ability to create tasks right now. The deep research tool is absolutely a level of agentic autonomy where it's going out and doing specific research tasks. The workflows that I'm creating are actually outside of the OpenAI ecosystem, but I'm bringing OpenAI into them. So I might use tools like Make or Zapier or N8N to create the different tools and workflows that then interact with Claude or OpenAI. And I use APIs to connect them to the large language models. And so that's the way I'm working with agentic workflows personally.
Yeah, Rusty, how you doing? I had a quick question. You mentioned job scan and comparing a job description versus your resume and finding the synergies and the gaps. If we're using, I'm using ChatGPT now to find that. Do we even need job scan in your opinion? Isn't ChatGPT good enough or no? You should
Well,
both.
here's the thing that I've wrestled with the same question. JobScan, it's my understanding, has more specific proprietary ATS training. So it's familiar with the systems like Workday or some of the others that are out there. ChatGPT, it's not clear that it's trained on those ATS models. And if you ask it, it will not say that it has domain-specific understanding. So my guess would be the JobScan is still probably doing a better job at sort of rating against the ATS systems that are out there. The one thing that I've also seen ChatGPT struggle with is when I ask it to rate my resume against a job description. I used to actually teach that. But I don't really advise that so much anymore. Sometimes I would give it the exact same information and it would give me a score of 89. And then I'd run the prompt again and it would give me a 93. ChatGPT tends to be a bit sycophantic, so it really likes to compliment you and tell you how great you're doing. My guess is JobScan is going to be a little bit more critical. Oops, excuse me. Any other questions?
One is a comment, and I don't know if you may have an answer for this. Well, it's because it's a question. That is, first is when you ask it to create response in a certain character limit, it's horrible at it. Like, let's say you're doing a LinkedIn intro, it's 300 characters. It's too long. So go keep it down to put it at 280. Then you get one that's at 130. No, not 132. It's horrible at the numbers, number one.
Yeah.
Don't know where that goes. Secondly, on the voice, I've mentioned this in this group before, at least one of these groups, maybe Pit Crew. The voice thing is interesting, meaning your tone. You can actually save it in memory instead of per project.
Right.
And just say this tone, let's call this abracadabra.
Right.
And then use abracadabra to write this or to proofread this. And it just pulls the memory forward, uses that no matter what project you're in.
So that's a good point. I didn't talk about the memory function that's out there, which they added probably about 6 months ago. And it's a bit of a catch-22 because when you add something into the memory, it tends to apply that all the time. That's going on. And so many of us lead multiple lives. Maybe we're AI experts, but we're also marketers. And so I like to keep my domains a little bit more siloed in terms of what I'm doing with my memory. The question that you started with, which was the inability for it to do a good job of counting. That goes back to what I was talking earlier with the two different models, and especially the GPT models, right? They're language models. They're not built on logic. They used to be horrible even at doing any kind of basic math that was out there. So if you asked it to count, how many words are in this sentence, it would get it wrong. So if you're using those GPT models for crafting your conversation, a lot of times they're not going to do a good job at counting. The paradox is if you switch to a logic model, which is going to do a better job at going back and double checking its own work, it might not be as creative. So they're not perfect yet.
Rusty, quick question. Can the ChatGPT Plus account be shared with a couple of family members, like a parent and a kid?
I don't know what OpenAI's official policy is. I will tell you from personal use that I know that can be done.
Okay. So yeah, the reason I ask is, my son is a teenager, right? And then of course I'm paying for it. He's not using it right now. And then the other thing is there, of course he does different things than me, right? My job search is more customized and stuff like that. So how do we keep it separate?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a challenge. So
Challenge.
if you have the plus version and you have the ability to use projects to be able to keep your prompts organized into different areas, his stuff versus your stuff, that would probably be, the easiest solution. Right now, it's not like Netflix where you can have one master account and then 4 different users underneath it, unfortunately. Maybe one day.
Right. Okay. And then the last question. How do I know whenever I go to all these talks with the VPs, they're all talking about they have their own AI agent, right, to do whatever they want, right? How do I create my own AI agent for the customized job search?
Well, I mean, that's a whole other presentation, and I'll be happy to come back in 2 weeks and do that one.
Okay.
So there are tools that are out there. So if you look at platforms like Lovable, they allow you to use natural language to create agents and web apps without having any coding knowledge that's out there. They have some free accounts if you want to experiment with things like that. It really gets down to what you want the agent to do. So you can get it to do basic things like I talked about earlier in tasks, where there are automations and it goes out and does things for you. I also use ChatGPT to do things like write Google app scripts that get my Google account to do things naturally for me. So for instance, every time I have a discovery call, 5 o'clock the day before my discovery call, a Google app script runs in the background. It looks at my Google Calendar. It finds that appointment. It goes to my Google Documents. It finds my bio. It sends my bio out to that person. It drafts a follow-up email for me that sits in my Google Gmail drafts document. So all of that automation is built in. And that's basically a level of agency that I use ChatGPT for to write a Google script. Again, that's called vibe coding, where you're creating code to get it to do specific things for you. So for beginners, I would do things like start with a platform like Lovable or Bolt, see what other people have done, and then build off of those ideas.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is by far the best presentation that we ever went to regarding AI ChatGPT.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll tag on to that. Always, Rusty. Thank you so much. Question about when you're teaching it, your tone. You're giving it a sample and you're teaching it, and you said you can go into settings. Is that in the free version or is that?
That is in the free version. The last time I checked, you should be able to have some level of custom instruction.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Rusty, this is Jody Goldberg online. I have 2 questions. First of all, it's a great presentation. Every time I see your presentations, I learn something new. But my question is there any code embedded in the results that make the output detectable by AI as AI created?
Jody, I don't have a good answer for that. I'm not sure. I am hearing things from OpenAI that in terms of content generation, more on the visual and video side, that they are embedding tools that are going to make it identifiable as this was created by AI. On the normal text-to-text side, I'm not sure how that works. I know universities, school systems are using AI detectors. I hear mixed things about how they're working or not working these days.
Okay, and the second question, I think you answered some of it. Are prompts and results used for ChatGPT training? In other words, what privacy concerns should I have?
So you have, first of all, the ability to go in and in your settings, decide whether you're going to share information with the platform for training. Read their privacy policy. The last time I looked at it, basically what they were saying is we do not share it outside of our core vendors. We're not selling it or reselling it, kind of like the Google advertising world does. But that can change, right? And so it's important to continue to look at it. If you are concerned, I would, first of all, turn off the sharing with the model. And at a second level, you can have it not save your history. And at a third level, you can use temporary prompts for each time that you're prompting in the system.
Terrific. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, Rusty, thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome.
Great presentation. We'll get that out to everybody this afternoon. Just a few more slides to next Friday. We will do open forum, being the first Friday of the month. Whatever question you have about your job search, you can come and ask us all about that. On the Career USA YouTube channel, we will get this video up there later this afternoon. Go to youtube.com/careerusa and you select playlist. When you select playlist, you can go down. Don't click on the video, but click where that bottom red arrow is. It says view full playlist, and I'll become a list of all the speakers and topics, and you can go back and watch any of those at your convenience. Next Tuesday, our LinkedIn Tuesday presentation will be by Locke Alderson, how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies that get results. The practice interview team will be meeting on Wednesday in person only, right here in this same room. So those of you in Dallas, you can come join us for the practice interview. And then next Friday, like I said before, we will be talking about open forum. We'll talk about whatever it is you'd like to talk about. Upcoming on Friday the 13th, Dee Robinson will be here to talk about find and negotiate your next job. And then on the 20th, Tony Bashir will be with us to talk about the top 10 big mistakes of resume writing. Today, well, it won't be 11:45, it'll be more like 12 o'clock. We'll be at Country Burger. Come join us for lunch. How many people think they're going to go from here so we know how big a table to get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 or 12. So whoever gets here first, go find us a big table. And for everybody else, thank you very much for joining us today, and we will see you all next week.
As a product leader, then he was showing me, called mgx.dev. You heard of it?
I haven't, no.
It's agentic development. You do all these things, and it's agentic in the sense that you've got roles, personas that operate in the side thing.